Welcome to the Solo Grind, where we shine a light on the raw and real journey of being a solo entrepreneur. I am Teresa, your guide on this adventure of going it alone, without a safety net and without the rule book. The grind is real, my friend, and so are the wins, the freedom, and the joy of building success on your own terms. I'm here to debunk the myths, share some laughs, and share what it takes to thrive as a go-getter, busy, doing it all entrepreneur. Hey there, and welcome back to another episode of the Solo Grind. We are coming up on a month. Can you believe that? It has been an incredible month, and I have received some really amazing, incredible feedback from listeners out there. And so, before we dive into today's topic, I wanted to take just a moment to share a little bit of love and gratitude to all of you who have been here with me, tuning in each week or just even once to kind of see what it's all about and to share your insights that you have received from this or from these episodes. So, first of all, thank you. Thank you so much to every single one of you who have tuned in and listened. And if you're tuning in for the very first time, I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for showing up and being here with me. As I said, I've gotten some really great feedback, and I thought I would share a little bit of that feedback with you guys today just because it was really exciting to hear, and it shows me that I am right on track with what I want to accomplish with these episodes of the Solo Grind. So, the first one that I wanted to share here, I got just the other day, and that is the podcast on pivoting was on fire. I am working on pivoting right now, so it was so perfect. And sorry, I was reading that, so I sounded a little bit robotic, but that was from Maria. And Maria, thank you for sharing that because it was a really powerful episode. I actually went back and listened to it myself right after it aired as a listener and gained even more insights from Crystal. And I've known her for more years than I can count. So thanks, Maria, for sharing that with me. And then one other one I wanted to share here was from Courtney. Everyone's idea of success is different. Teresa makes a great case for paying attention to what makes each one of us happy and successful in our own businesses. And I really, really appreciated you sharing that with us, Courtney, because that's what I wanted you to hear. That's the message that I wanted to get across, that our success is defined by us. And the external forces telling us what is success and what isn't success doesn't matter. It is comments like that that are one of my key indicators of success because when I hear that kind of feedback, I know I am doing what I set out to do. And that was just a tiny bit of the feedback that I received. So, again, thank you, everyone who has reached out and shared your insights with me. And I hope you continue to do so because this is for you. And I want to deliver what it is that you're looking for as a solo entrepreneur. All right, so today, this kind of brings us into today's topic, actually, because we're talking about indicators of success and specifically metrics. Now, metrics is one of those things out there that a lot of businesses put a lot of emphasis on, especially as a new young business. You want to know, are my numbers increasing? Am I getting more followers? Am I getting more visits to my website? How many people are finding me on Google? All the things that we want to know. And I'll be honest with you, in my personal opinion, I think that we put too much emphasis on those numbers. And that's kind of what I want to talk about today, which we're going to dive into in a little bit more detail. And the reason I say that we have too much emphasis on that is because I've seen people with tens of thousands of followers and still not have a thriving business, still not be profitable. So those kind of numbers don't indicate success. And we're going to take a look at that in a little bit more detail in today's episode. So we're going to first of all look at three of the most popular metrics that I have people talk to me about in my own business as they're working with me and wondering why the numbers aren't jumping. And I'm also going to talk about why they're not the symbol of success that we think that they are. And finally, I'm going to share with you my number one metric for measuring success and why I think it's the only one that we should be looking at on a regular basis, even daily. So that is what we're going to be diving into this week. But before I do, I wanted to share or actually answer one of the most popular questions that I have gotten over the first couple episodes that we received here at the Solo Grind. And that is, what does your husband think? Because obviously, my husband is a big part of my life and he has shown up in a couple episodes, specifically when I was talking about building your own board of directors and how he's not a member of every board that I have. Like when it comes to thinking outside of the box, he's not the guy I go to. And so I wanted to answer that question because honestly, I will say, first of all, my husband, I'm very blessed. Todd is very supportive and just an incredible guy. And he's got my back. That's just what it is, simply, plain and simple. But also, um, I wanted to just put it out there because I think this is something worth saying. I didn't create this podcast for him. He is not my target audience, and he's not who I'm speaking to in these episodes. That being said, I am so honored and blessed to have a husband who tunes in and listens and is so supportive of me and is so proud of me for what I've accomplished. So, yes, my husband has listened to it. No, he was not offended by what I said because he knows that's not his strength. He has so many other amazing, incredible strengths. And maybe one day that will be an episode in and of itself. But just for today, I wanted to put it out there that, again, I love him and I love that he supports me, but he's not my target audience. And this podcast is not created for him. So, thank you guys for reaching out and asking that question. I love it because I think sometimes we get a little too caught up in what those closest to us think and how they are going to respond. And let's face it, they are almost never our target audience or our dream client. So we shouldn't be shaping our business around what they think or want to see. Okay, so now let's take a look at today's topic, and that is, of course, diving into the three most popular metrics that we have out there and why they may not be that symbol of success we think that they are. Now, I'm not going to say that you should not be tracking any kind of metrics or looking at numbers when it comes to your business. You should. You should have that information because that information is going to help you make some important decisions down the line. And it's going to help you make decisions from a place of confidence with facts backing up your choices. However, what I want to stress here is that you should not be obsessing over these numbers and analyzing why they've moved up or down a step or two, or why they're not skyrocketing to the top, or all the other things that we think they should be doing, because those are not indicators of success. So, here are the three that I'm going to talk about today. First is going to be our social media followers. Next is going to be website views or page views. And the last is going to be email open rates. So, starting off with social media followers, I think this is one of the first areas that as a solo entrepreneur, we become obsessed about. Looking at the number of followers we have in social media, looking at, is it growing? Who's engaging with me? How many people are engaging with me? Have I hit 500, 800, 1,000, 2,000? Can I get to 10,000? These are the things that go floating around in our mind when it comes to building a business and creating a social media following. But here is something that we don't hear that often, if at all. Having thousands and thousands of followers does not translate into sales and business or profitability. Sure, it looks great. It looks cool when you have a lot of followers. But if those followers are not engaging with your content, helping to spread the word about how you make their lives better, and translating into sales for your business, then it just is a vanity metric that doesn't have any real value in your life or your business. So that is something that I have learned myself over the years, that having a small following of engaged dream customers, even if it's only a few hundred, is so much more powerful than having a large following of people who just don't care that much about what we do. Now, that being said, if you are looking to build an influencer brand or looking to get out there and partner and collaborate with other brands, knowing your following and staying on top of those numbers can add value to what you are doing and sharing. As an influencer, building a following is your job. And so, of course, it's a good focus to have. And if you're looking to start collaborating and having partnerships with other people, showing that you have a following to bring to the table is, of course, a value in that collaboration. But if you're a small business, like most of my listeners are, looking to create something really incredible for a target niche, a huge following is not a necessity, and it's taking you away from building the business that you really want to build. So, my advice is before you spend time, effort, money, and energy trying to build a huge following, get clear on what that value is going to bring to your business. If the value is simply vanity, then I would suggest taking the time to focus your time and energy, money, and efforts on something that is going to really build client relationships, build your reputation in a positive way, or help you bring in more of the dream clients that you are out there looking for. Okay, let's take a look and talk about website views and page views now. As I do web design, this is a conversation that I have often with my clients. And I'll be honest, it's often the conversation that comes up when we are worried that our business isn't growing or we don't feel like we're bringing in the number of clients that we should be bringing in. When I have these conversations with my clients, there are two key questions I almost always hear. First of all, how many people have visited my website? And the next question is, why aren't they taking action? Here's what I want you to remember. Not everybody who visits your website is going to convert into a paid client. In fact, most are not going to, and there's a lot of reasons behind that. But here's a few that I think that are most important to keep in mind. First of all, sometimes people come to your website because they're simply exploring their options. That's it. They're interested in what you have to offer, and they don't know you. They haven't met you. They don't have a referral of how awesome you are, and they're exploring their options, and they're going to look at more than one business that offers what they're looking for. Others may come out of plain out curiosity. They come across you on social media, or they heard somebody talk about you, or they saw another advertisement that you had out there somewhere in the world. They're curious and they want to know more about you. Those are good things. They're interested in what you have to say, and they're coming to take a look. If you capture their attention, which if they're your dream clients, that's exactly what you want to do with your website, they'll be back. And that's what we want them to do. Now we have the category of people who are just not ready to take action. These could be the curious people out there. They could be the ones exploring their options. That all kind of blends together a little bit anyway, but they're simply not ready to take action. Again, if you have done your website copy well to capture your dream clients and they just happen to be your dream clients, they will be back when they're ready to take action. So that is the key that I want you to remember. There's another category of people who come to your website that I want you to keep in mind, and they are the people who are not your dream clients. You are going to have people hop on your website and be like, I do not resonate with this person at all. And they're going to leave your website and they're going to go find somebody else. And instead of getting upset or angry or being mad or feel like you are a failure, I want you to celebrate those people. Celebrate that they had the ability to make a confident decision to know you are not the right fit for them and they're going to go find their right fit. Because if you got them, if they did reach out and they're not your dream customer, it's not going to be a good situation. They are going to have expectations potentially that you don't want to meet. You are not going to enjoy working with them. And the outcome of the project is not going to be good. None of that helps you in building your business. It depletes your confidence. It can potentially put bad information out there and hurt your reputation. And it makes you question if you really should be doing this crazy entrepreneurial thing or not. So, when somebody comes to your website and they don't take action immediately, don't be offended. Just make sure that you are talking to your dream clients and have faith that when they're ready to act, they are going to act. That is the most important thing to remember when it comes to getting visitors to your website. Now, there is a good time to take a look at page views and to see if things are working well. And in fact, I just did this with a client the other day. She was concerned that people aren't taking action, aren't coming to her and booking calls. So we went and we looked at her analytics. And we noticed in the last 30 days, there was 2 days where there were really big spikes in her website visitors. And those were days when she was doing some different marketing approaches that she didn't do on a regular basis. The power in looking at those numbers at that moment was that she knew that in one, she attended an event in her area and she got a lot of page views from attending that event. So she knew that that was time well spent. She was getting people to know about her, to learn about her, and to come and check out her website. The other time when the number spiked was when she had done a real, genuine, raw video talking about the end of one of her projects. And she just came out and talked about how it was a bittersweet moment. And she shared openly in a video on Facebook. And that video connected her with people who found her, people who were interested in what she had to do, people who came to her website because of what she shared. So that was a value in looking at numbers when you're trying a new marketing tip or you attend an event or something like that. Did it bring people to your website? Go take a look and see if it did. If it didn't, then think about your approach, what you did, what you can do differently, and pivot to something that works. So I hope that makes sense. And I hope it helps you put a little bit more perspective in the value of website views and page views. Again, I want to iterate there are people who are simply curious or exploring their options that are not ready to take action. And there are people that are not your dream customers that are going to come to your website. Send them away with love and trust that you are reaching the people you are meant to reach. And when they're ready to take action, you've made a good enough impression that they're going to connect with you. And I want to leave you with one last little thought when it comes to website views and page views, and that is simply this. If a visitor isn't excited that they found you in the moment that they found you, then they're not ready to connect or they're not your dream customer. Send them away with love and focus your efforts on things that actually move the needle forward, like getting out there where your clients are, connecting and making personal connections. That is so much more powerful than staring at numbers and analytics all day long. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the last metric that a lot of people tune into and pay a lot of attention to, and that is the email open rates. Now, email open rates do offer some really valuable insights, probably more valuable than social media followers and engagement or even website page visits, in my personal opinion. But they're not the end all be all to knowing it. First of all, I want you to understand that depending on what your industry is, email open rates are never going to be as high as we think they are. If you hit 25 to 30% open rate, you are doing really, really good, my friend. Most people do not have that high of an open rate. And the bigger your list grows, the lower the percentage goes. That's pretty common. So I want you to keep that in mind. And the other thing to keep in mind is that we are all busy. We get a ton of emails every day. I'm not even exaggerating. I get hundreds of emails on a given day, and I do have multiple email accounts for different various reasons or things. But even with me being on top of keeping spam at bay and unsubscribing and things like that, I still get hundreds of emails a day. I can't read them all. I can't read most of them. It doesn't mean I'm not interested in what you have to say. It just means that today was not your day to be read. Now, I know I'm not alone in this. And if you think about how you approach the number of emails you receive, I know people who completely ignore email, even though they sign up for things. If you think about that, you're not that different than the people on your own email list. Okay. So, what I want you to take away from this in this moment here is that it's okay if people don't open and read every single one of your emails. If they stay on your list, then they're still interested in what you have to say. Now, there's some other things that the open rates can help you determine. And that is something that I do want to talk about because there is a true value in this one. First of all, sometimes our subject lines are just too generic or they're too boring and they're not grabbing people's attention. I will see when I have a big drop in my email open rates. I look at the email that I sent and I'm like, yeah, that was pretty boring, Teresa. You probably should have jazzed that up a little bit. That's why it opened. So that's a good thing to know and to gather from it. That doesn't mean spend a lot of time analyzing and stressing and freaking out and worrying. It just means look at where it dropped, look at what you sent, and be honest with yourself. Was it of value? That's the other thing that comes to mind is that maybe what you're sharing isn't of value. Now, if that is on one or two emails here or there, I wouldn't worry about it. I wouldn't stress it. But if you're starting to see a huge decline in emails, ask yourself what is the value that you are giving. And if you're not giving value to your email subscribers, then you need to start doing it. That is why they're on their list, are on your list, because of the value that you offer. Okay. Another reason that I'll see big drops in email views is somebody starts getting too salesy. And honestly, that is something that I really want you to tune into because as we approach November, Black Friday, think about the number of salesy emails that you get around Black Friday. Me as a business, I actually do not market during Black Friday at all. I'll send out my regular stuff sometimes. I'll take a break from sending emails, period, just to give people's inbox a break, but I don't sell over Black Friday because everybody is selling over Black Friday and it is overwhelming. So you're going to see a decline when you're too salesy or when the whole world is being too salesy. Plain and simple, you're going to see a decline in your email open rates. And again, keep in mind that often we are just too busy and we get way too much email. So don't stress email open rates that much. Again, use them as a guide, use them as an indicator if you're getting too general, too boring, too salesy. Otherwise, use them as an avenue to create genuine relationships with your customers. That is the value that you're getting from having email subscribers. And if people aren't engaging or they hop off your list, guess what? It meant they're not your dream customers. Wish them well, send them love, and let them go because it's not a personal thing. You're just not the one for them. And again, you are not going to attract everybody in the world. And if you did, it would be terrifying and overwhelming. All right, so that is my thoughts on the three most popular metrics. And again, I want to state that they each have value and you absolutely should be tracking them. But I don't want you to get caught up in obsessing over the numbers and why they've dipped and why they change and why they go up and down and things like that. Numbers go up and down all the time, and it's not a big deal. Use them to help you make confident decisions in your business, and then go back to what really matters the most, and that is giving your best to your clients and getting out there and showing up where your potential clients are hanging out. And now this brings me to the number one metric that I track in my own business. And I almost feel like we should have a little drum roll for this one, although it's not that exciting. So I'll just go ahead and dive right in. The number one metric that I focus on is my bank account. At the end of the day, the success of my business is not measured by how many followers I have, how many people opened my last email, how many people have visited my website. It is how much revenue and profitability I can show on any given day, week, or month. When my bank account is growing, I know that what I am doing is working. And when my bank account isn't growing, then that is a clear sign it is time for me to take a look at what I'm doing, how I'm connecting with my dream clients, and if it's time to pivot and try something else. Now, this isn't about obsessing over money just because of money. This is about using my bank account as a direct reflection in how well my business strategies are working. So again, if the bank account is growing, then things are working. If it's not, then it may be a sign that things need to change. It's all about understanding what is driving those results. So, how do you know when it's time to pivot or if things aren't working? You see that bank account not growing. How do you determine if a pivot is needed or if it's just a dry spell in the market? For me, I ask myself these three key questions, or four key questions actually. First, am I showing up where my dream clients are hanging out? That is a really big one. If I am not showing up, if I am not putting myself out there to connect with my dream clients where they are, then of course they don't know that I'm available and ready to help them. So I got to ask myself, am I showing up where I need to be? Next, is my marketing reaching the right audience? And this is kind of a big one to pay attention to because sometimes we decide to make a shift or a change in our marketing efforts and we start connecting with the people who are not our dream clients. This honestly just happened to me not all that long ago. And I knew as I was drawing in these clients that were not my dream people that it was time to shift my marketing in a new direction. All right, the next question that I ask myself are my services or products, if you offer products, solving a real problem for my dream customers? Okay. If what I'm putting out there isn't solving a problem or making their lives better, of course they're not committing to me. And that's okay. That's when I know that I need to make a shift in what I'm offering. And then the last one question that I ask myself is, am I providing enough value to keep my clients coming back? Obviously, not every customer is going to always come back, and some are going to reach a point to where they have gotten what they need from you. But to build a thriving business, you want to have a next step people can take with you until they have received all that they need to receive. So if you have a client and an obvious next step they can take, and they haven't taken that step, ask yourself why. Maybe it's just not the right time for them, and that's okay. But maybe you didn't offer the value that you thought you were giving them or that they thought they were going to receive. And that is something that you need to know as well. All right, my friend, that brings us to the end of today's episode. And I hope that I have given you some incredible insight and food for thought to help you put your focus where it actually matters to building your business and moving that needle forward. Thank you again for joining me here today, and I look forward to connecting with you next week. Thanks for tuning in to the Solo Grind. I hope this episode brought you some inspiration and encouragement. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, rate, and review the podcast, and feel free to share. For more tips and insights, visit caffeinecreative.io to check out my blog or explore the Creative Vault, my free course library. You can also find me on Facebook and Instagram. I'd love to hear how this episode has helped you.